Hi, welcome back to Dial of Twang. I'm Dave. So, building on this video from a couple of days ago with the C, G, F, hold the F, I'm just doing a little alternating bass thing there, but the chords are... Okay, so we're in the key of C, and we can warm up on this by playing some C major scale stuff and some C major pentatonic. And a couple of days ago, if you haven't seen that one, that's okay. We really focused on, using triad shapes and specifically kind of landing on triad tones like the third and the fifth and things when the chords change. So one way we did that was by kind of leaving the track off at first and making the chord statement for each chord in the progression and then playing kind of aiming for and identifying which chord tones those were. So there we have the third of the C, the fifth of the G, and the fifth of the F there. It's just an example, okay? And I know I'm going quickly through that part, but if you like that sound, you like that really rich melody feel to, mixed in with your pentatonic stuff, then go back and watch that other one. And there's a playlist on the channel called Triads and Improvisation. And it shows diagrams of all kinds of different basic triad forms and how to use those in simple jams and things. And, that many of us start off by playing a lot of blues scale and pentatonic stuff. And of course, that's if you play rock and popular styles, that's, that's a large portion of all the material that's been created, really. But you want a little bit of that more diatonic and modal sound, mixed in with your playing. That's kind of where the triads can really help your style. Now, today, when I say triad, we're talking about the root, the third, and the fifth. For example, C. There's the C major scale. Also happens to be the white keys on the piano. If you can visualize that, or if it doesn't help you, don't worry about it. But if you have a piano or you have a little bit of skills there, you can kind of visualize that. There's no sharps or flats. It's just C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Okay, so our triad is every other note. The odd numbers, the root or the 1, skip the 2, there's the third, skip the 4, and the 5. Okay. Now today, what's new, one thing, is that if we skip that 6 and we keep going up with the odd numbers, we get to the 7th. Okay. Well, what's the note going to be? Well, it's going to be whatever the 7th tone of that major scale is, in this case. So let's add that to our triad, and we have our first extension. Okay. Notes that are in the chord and in the theory that happen above the 5th. There's 2 forms of it right there. So you can kind of add that to, amend your caged stuff, right? there's a like an E shape. You know, if you take these three strings out, you got a C triad. You put that seventh note in there, you've got another thing that you can kind of branch out with there. Now, bear with me. Let's do it down here. So now that one kind of works out real neatly geometrically, right? Really like that. That's a great little position. So let's take this one, though, the A caged shape for C triad, with these three adjacent strings grouped together. I still have a root, a third, and a fifth, but they're not neatly in order, right? But they're there. So that seventh is going to be, right there. It's kind of right in that, glob of notes. So what am I going to do? You just put it in there in whatever order it goes. It's just the 1/2 step down from the C, okay? The note's B natural. Now, you got work to do here, right? For each one of these chords, remember, we're using the notes that are in the C major scale. Doesn't matter what note we start on. Here's what I mean. With the G, it's still the white keys. Right? This is how you end up with your modes and all your different relative minors and everything. We're not going to dump all that onto one lesson because, right, freak everybody out. But that's what's going on with a lot of the stuff that you're reading about and looking at. One of the things I think that will help that doesn't, I think, get mentioned enough. There's this assumption that the arpeggios always have to match the chord that you're playing exactly. Now, we're not even playing any seventh chords on this track. All I did was these bar chord forms, right? They're just major chords, triads. But you can still put those extensions in there. See? That's maybe what they're not telling you, right? You don't have to be playing a bunch of jazzy chords to use your seventh and your ninth and stuff, right? Right now we're just talking about the seventh. So for that G, see what I'm doing? I'm emphasizing every other one. I'm kind of counting it out in a line, but I'm making that triad sound pop out. All right, here's another one. So if you want to take the time, and this would be really helpful, but it's a commitment, is go and look at these triads that you're familiar with. Say if this is G. And add that dominant seventh, okay, to each one of those. All right. Now you can do that by looking up diagrams and stuff too, but I'm telling you a method that's simply based on this every other note. The key to it is remember you're in the river of C. If you get lost, go back to your notes that are in C major. Okay? Same thing for F. with an F major 7. Now, if I start putting a few of these 7th extensions in there with my other triads, look what happens sound-wise. Now, that's kind of a lot. You'd have maybe, rather than just repeat myself, you watch that section of this lesson a couple of times and you follow that process, that every other note thing, right? And also, remember, you don't have to be playing a 7th chord to be using your 7ths. In fact, it sounds really cool. You got somebody just strumming a DCG tune, on an acoustic, whatever, and you're solo, and you start putting those other extensions in there more. It sounds great, and it sounds, pretty sophisticated, but it's a pretty simple program. But like a lot of things that are simple in theory, it takes a lot of legwork to really get familiar with that and know where things are and let your ear acclimate to that. Where hopefully your ear's getting very acclimated to the root, the 3rd, and the 5th, right? Okay, and that 7th will start to come in there too. All right. I don't know if I told you, I broke a string on my telly right between doing the intro and doing the lesson portion, and I haven't been using this one as much lately because it's louder in the mic because it makes a pretty loud sound dry. So I love this guitar, but I usually don't use it for the lessons that much. I'm a little rusty on it. It's different. I'm so used to that Telecaster now. So, I know there was a little bit scattered there, the stuff that we covered today, but, consolidate it. We're taking the triads and adding a 7th to each one, okay? And then along with that, just to kind of keep your basic triad stuff building and getting, more solid and useful and comfortable for you, practice some moving around in different positions just using your root, 3rd, and 5th as well, like this. Throw in the major scale. Then those 7ths. Do some pentatonic stuff that you're already really comfortable with. things going on there. And, you know, it takes time and understanding, not just practice hours. I mean, that's important, obviously, putting in the mechanical, just the push-ups and the sit-ups. Explore this thing about every other note and how to build a chord and what the seventh and then a ninth and things are, and do some of that. You know, back it up with stuff that you can, you know, look up and Google and watch videos about and see diagrams about, but also do the real legwork on that and see if it doesn't really open up and demystify some of these aspects of theory and why the chords are what they are and so forth, right? And there's a kind of a real elegant beauty to how this is all set up, but you got to get in there and really explore it. Hopefully this kind of opened up a little door for you on that today. Let me know how it goes. Appreciate you. Talk to you next time.